What's up, everybody? Been a minute, been a little busy, school, work, you know. So, kick off coming back into it. I'm going to do what's been kind of itching at me to do, but also I haven't done for a specific reason because I didn't feel I was ready to show you or talk to you about it. But this is the video of my video review of the Epoch Hawk. Epic. Don't worry about the shaft, it's just my Warrior Diamond, Cryptolite Diamond shaft that I took all the graphics off except for Warrior. Just used acetone. Be careful with that. So, start off aesthetics. This head is overall very plain, very simple, which kind of goes back onto my love of older heads, of Excaliburs, all the old school heads, the Barracuda, all that stuff that's actually in this box right behind me that is going out to the Aussie, which I still have, I believe, two more videos to do for that, and you guys will be the first to know. But so, aesthetically, very simple, very plain. Struts kind of reminds me of the Excalibur, but obviously very different. It doesn't jut out or anything like that. It doesn't come past the sidewall design. The throat, very simple looking as well, very plain. It has very, very nice little cutouts to take away from weight while still having very strong structure, because a lot of heads that have been in the past have had cracking issues in the throat, like the Warrior Emperor, a lot of different warrior heads, really, to my memory, as well as the clutch. I've seen a few break in the throat area. But so, very strong construction, very well thought out. Coming into the scoop is very simple. You don't get much simpler than this. Very nice, good protection lip right here. You can kind of see the light kind of hit off of it. Nice little lip to protect your top string. Of course, it's not as apparent as most warrior heads have been in the past. Like the 2.0s, all the different little 2.0s that are out there, they had a much bigger lip that could protect your strings. And another one that kind of pops out to me is the Under Armour heads. They have that very, very nice system to protect your top string excessively well, which is great to hear and see. But not too prominent, but still the scoop is designed to where when the ground is actually coming in at the head, it completely misses the strings, or at least more so than most heads. In the scoop there is actually what a lot of people have been starting to call the Wi-Fi emblem. Does your head have enough Wi-Fi? But I mean, I think it's pretty cool. A lot of people have brought up the idea and issue that when you're dyeing said head, it doesn't exactly dye this area very well. I mean, I'm sure they're going to make a colored head of some sort eventually. They're just getting it out there in white form for everybody to get their hands on and really get to like this head. But the design of this is actually supposed to put, when you come in for the scoop, it's supposed to actually help keep the ball go right into the head. Yeah, it might work, it might not. I honestly haven't seen much of a difference when I've messed with it, and I've excessively tested that idea on wood floor, carpet, grass, and I don't really notice much of a difference. Try to do it the same way every single time, but to each his own. It's a really nice little innovative idea that they came up with. Next, and a lot of people have actually pointed this out to me, is actually the face shape. The face shape is rather, I guess you could say, literally a keyhole shape. It's very straight. I don't think I've seen many heads that are much straighter than this when it comes to the throat, especially when it's a universal head like this one is, where it's 3 inches across and goes straight up, and then a very aggressive flare, which it actually comes out to a rather fine point here, which is actually supposed to help with, again, with strength for the head. and then it comes out into the nice gradual scoop. It's not a super aggressive pointy scoop, which is really good, especially if you're somebody that's younger or just somebody that getting into the sport a little new, a little late in the game, which is never a bad thing. A lot of my guys that I actually coach are first year, second year players and don't have as much experience as a lot of guys that I game up with and that I see when they come into the store, where they've been playing since they were like 6 years old and they're like 13 now. They have a lot more skill, and so they have the much more aggressive scooped heads, which to each his own again, but very good for all ranges of play when it comes to the scoop, to the general idea, because it's not an aggressive pinch, it's just very straight. So even if you're not that great at playing, it's still going to work for you for being a little bit wide and helping you work on your catch game. Next thing is going into your stringing. Stringing wise, very simple. The top holes are very well spaced out. I would say that the two center ones kind of remind me more along the lines of a Stallion and a Stallion U, or even the new K18 head, because they're just so spaced out. If memory serves, those heads, the Stallions and the K18, are actually designed to accommodate a 10 diamond top string, not a 9. I did try a 10 diamond in this, and it didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. I did multiple different sidewall holes patterns, and it didn't quite feel right. And it strung up nicely, but it didn't quite feel right in the way of their design because of the laid back profile, where the head comes straight, and then about 2/3 of the way, about halfway up the head, it cants back, and it doesn't have an actual offset. It is completely straight, just like the old school heads, goes rather straight out and then jets back, which is supposed to go into what I'm about to talk about, is that it is actually designed for a high pocket. Now, the high pocket is one of the coveted pockets that a lot of people want to go for nowadays. It is literally designed into this head to have a high pocket. I've strung in a low and a mid-low pocket just to make sure it is possible, and it is rather hard to do it to where the pocket stays legal depth-wise, especially when the ball actually sits right in the middle. That is the big issue when you're actually trying to work on a pocket that you want, where the lowest point in the pocket is literally where that pocket sits. So if you want a low pocket, it has to literally sit at the lowest point in the pocket, down low, mid, and high. So if you strung up a mid pocket and it actually sits high, then it is a high pocket. And when it comes to this head, you want a pocket that sits either mid or high, because if you don't string it correctly, and a lot of people won't, I'm not saying everybody will, but a lot of people won't, where you think you're stringing it up here, and it ends up being a low pocket, and because of actually the design of this sidewall, it goes from extremely narrow to the regular size sidewall, which also ends up allowing to help with that laid back profile, where because it's leaning back and then it gets wider right where that lean back is, it helps create that high pocket. But the thing is, because of the way that stringing holes are set up, because of the laid back profile, because of the expanding sidewall, all that adding up together allows for a rather smooth, crisp release. Not where a lot of heads that are like designed for a mid-low pocket, you put a high pocket into it and you get this horrible, whippy, snappy high pocket, and it just doesn't work for you. You throw a high pocket in this, I've thrown at least 10 different patterns into this head to see if it works or not, and every single one had a very smooth release, unless I put like 2 nylons up top. But very simple, very easy to put in the pocket that you want if it's a mid or a high. I strongly recommend doing a mid to mid-high if you can manage that. If you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, I've actually put up those patterns, my 3 favorite patterns that I've come up with for this head, and all of them kind of have a nice, smooth, crisp release. The one that I have in it right now is probably my favorite. I will be doing a video tutorial. I will not be saying the knots or anything like that. More than likely, I'm going to do a video. It's just going to be me stringing it, kind of like a live stringing, which I don't really like to do. Just a live stringing and just music in the background. That's all it's going to be. It's me not even talking, you just trying to do the same exact thing that I do. Because, I mean, I didn't learn to string like everybody else is learning to string nowadays, where they got videos, people just kind of spoon feed them the information. If you follow me, you know that I only give pictures. I don't give out the knots or anything. I actually delete posts of people trying to read my patterns and put out the pattern, because that is not how I teach, because that's not how I learn. So don't expect a hand-me-out, or a handout as most people call it. I call it a hand-me-out, whatever. Don't expect that from me. But overall, this head, just amazing. I can't even give you the rating on it just yet, because I'm not even done talking about it. It's such a long video for a review, right? When it comes to strength, this one that they sent out to me, that Epic sent out to me, is actually a 5 out of 10, which is actually supposed to be their mid-range. If I had the thing right here, I'd show you, but it actually comes with a nice card that comes in the head, so that it gives you specifically what range, what stiffness it has. A 5 out of 10 is its mid-range, because Epic actually has a process where they can, what is it called? Using the polymer, resin, plastic, whatever you want to call it. They have a very interesting process to where if they press a certain amount in, so on and so forth, that it actually strengthens the plastic even further, or they can take it away and actually make it more flimsy or not as stiff. I probably don't think that they're going to go all the way to a 1, because that would probably cause a lot of warping. But the idea is actually supposed to be so that they can give you from face-off, which is the flimsiest head that you can get, from face-off to the strongest defender. So right around the lines of a Warrior Revo 3 and a Blade at the other end. So just because I use the Warrior doesn't mean that they are that. Those are just ones that I decided to use. But as an example, Blade on the soft end, the Revo 3 at the other end of the spectrum. So that's what they're going for the strength and stuff. And as a 5, I probably wouldn't recommend it as for face-offs unless you actually boil it, which is really what I recommend for any face-off head after it's past your warranty. Otherwise, if it's still in your warranty, return that sucker, get you a brand new one, break it in, use it. But if you're gonna boil the head, and that'll make it a little bit more flimsy. But for just a MIDI and a TACman, maybe even a deep pull, number 5 on the stiffness range is really good. I believe it's called the Flex IQ, which is what the number bases are. But overall, just a great head. The bottom holes are actually pretty cool. There is an actual island right here where the ball stock goes, and it's a very cool ball stock. But there's actual kind of island that juts back to cut away weight again, where the 4 holes are actually at the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the sidewall holes go pretty much all the way from the very top of the scoop all the way down to where this is. This is the bottom hole, the bottom sidewall hole. So huge options for everything. If I wasn't more of a mid to mid low kind of guy, this would literally be the perfect head for me. I love it. It strings up wonderfully. I'm probably gonna play with it even more, mess around with it. It'll probably be one of my coaching sticks for those really messy days, because this is actually strung up with otter mesh, and can't really go into much more with that, guys. So overall, let's get into the nitty gritty here. Overall, stringability, I have to give it for what it's designed for for what it is designed for. I can't give it anything else. For what it is designed for, this head gets a 9 out of 10 because I feel that not everybody can quite get a high pocket, and it's kind of biased in that idea. But for what it's designed for, keep repeating that, it is a 9 out of 10. Because it's just, there's just one little thing that kind of bothers me is the size of the top holes. They're not super big, but they're not super small. They're almost perfect. Maybe if they were a little bit bigger, just minutely bigger, and then the same thing with the rest of the sidewall holes, minutely bigger, because there's just some people that like to use thicker string and it makes it harder to string it. So stringability, 9 out of 10. Not really going to knock much off because of that. Overall strength and durability, I've done some face-offs with it, and as you can see, it went back to its original shape. I did not go as in-depth as Grunt Lacrosse did with his face-offs, but rather decent for face-offs. It has a decent flex point. Overall stiffness, I have to give it again 9 out of 10 because it might not just work for everybody. And just appearance-wise, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. Very simple, very clean, not too much going on, just the right amount for me. So, thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed what I had to say about the Epoch Hawk. I'm gonna definitely get a traditional in it eventually and see how that goes. You guys will be some of the first people to know about it. Overall, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, leave some questions about the head. If I can answer them, I will. Coming up, and you guys can actually see it in the background here, coming up soon, probably later tonight, is going to be a couple series of videos, very quick series of videos of actual questions that you guys have left me on Instagram about traditional pockets. And it might not be specifically about classics, but I'm going to be using Guinevere here, which is what I'm calling her, which is a matte black optic high school with a classic traditional, with my treated leathers, the P5 leathers, and then it's going to be, and then also it's going to be another video about the ABE, or ABE as I've been starting to call it, the adjustable button by Maverick. Will not be another video that I do. But thanks for watching, guys. I had a good time. It's been a while. I'm back. Don't you fret. And big things are coming. So be excited, because I am. Thanks, guys.